Welcome back, Dolphins. We're just going to alleviate everybody's stresses today. This is going to be that type of series where we just alleviate all the Dolphins fans' stresses on all the things. I want to clear up all the people that keep saying 8 or 9 holes on this team and we're going to be a 5 and. Relax. I think there's really nothing that we have to worry about. If you check out my last video, we talk about the roster, and there's not that many holes on the roster. Cornerback, clearly, but for the most part, all the other ones, pretty decent off. And we'll get into it right now. And I want to talk about something later on about what I think Chris Grier is doing right now and why I think the quarterback position is not a problem. All right. So, excuse me. Let's just go straight to corner. We're going to go straight to corner. Oh, no, those are the signed ones. We're going to go straight to the unsigned corners. And here we go. We've already been in talks with Rasul Douglas. Rasul Douglas has been a stud most of his career. He's been a ball-hawking corner for most of his career. We've been in talks with him. You look at Rasul Douglas, you're going to see. I mean, I know last year we did not have the greatest year from him, but he was on a new team. You know, he's on a 1-year deal with a new team. I think it was a mid-year trade or something like that. No, he was a free agent last year. He signed a 1-year deal, and this is not telling me anything. So I'm going to go back. So when you look at it, I think go here. View premium stats. There we go. Nope. Not it either. All right. Well, we're just going to rock with this. Let's see if it... Why does it not show? Technologically not savvy. If you look at the year before, look at this. 5 interceptions, pressures, 43 receptions, that was 45th, and 50 solo tackles. He will look pretty good, the years before. But the thing is that, he went to the Buffalo Bills, different system, different everything, kind of had a fall off year. But when you look at him, definitely a type of dude that can come into the Dolphins and have, he definitely has much more of a, how do you say this? Much more of a fit with the Miami Dolphins. I think, as you can see, he's an interception guy. He's a ball hawk. He's someone that we need on this team because we didn't have that last year. And he'll be like a 1-year rental, honestly, because what's going to happen next year, depending on what we do, which we'll talk about in a second, he'll be a 1-year rental that we just keep him here, and you're going to have him for the 1 year there. You let him go, and we'll have whoever steps up throughout this year fill that role. The next one I want to talk about is Asante Samuel. And the reason I like Asante Samuel kind of a little more than Rasul Douglas is because he's had decent years. And that right there, that number, he's going to be 26 basically. And he has been very good throughout his career. I wish I could go on the stats. I don't know why I can't do that. He's been very good. He's been a very solid player. He was one of those, he's going to be a man coverage guy. He's not a ball hawk like Rasul Douglas, but he's going to be more of like just a steady guy, just a steady dude. Could be probably a number 2 if we draft somebody. But, he got injured, and it kind of derailed him a little bit last year. Only had 234 snaps. And that was the problem. He basically got injured, and it kind of screwed him up. But he is a very hot target right now because he's young. He's a young, 26-year-old guy. I think he was first or second round pick. He's played solid throughout his career, and it would be something that could be a decent building block off of. Now, again, we want to take a look at, depending on what that shoulder injury is, because there is a reason why no one has signed him yet. Could also be that he just wants to get there's a reason why people haven't signed him. So I think we can cool it with that. That's why, he's 25, has played decent in his career. He should have been definitely signed. So the reason that people haven't signed him is kind of something. But, we'll see. I think he's another option out there. Mike Hilton, an older guy, definitely plays nickel, had a great year last year, even though the Bengals defense was horrible. But, he's a slot defender. That's the problem. So you'd have to kick Kader Kohu out, which you could do. You could put Kader Kohu on the barrier and have Mike Hilton on the inside. But, I think that would be another option here where you can kind of figure that out with Mike Hilton. Plays decent at the slot position. Stephon Gilmore has been a staple, since he's been in the league. He's 35, so he's definitely lost a step. And Shaq Griffin is another one that, you can have him out there and it'll be good. Kendall Fuller, we could sign him back for less money. But again, you got some players here that you definitely could take a look at. We'll go defensive end because that's another one. And right now you got Matthew Judon, who, yes, didn't play great last year, but has been pretty decent his entire career. Yes, he's 33, but again, this last wave of free agency, you're getting 1-year rentals. That's what you're going to be going for. So Matthew Judon is one of those that you can just put there for 1 year, just like Emmanuel Ogbah, and you have a decent dude that can make some plays that he needs to make. I think he had like 9 sacks a couple years ago. Dennis Gardeck, who, again, just another guy you could put there. Brandon Graham, I know he's 37, but you don't need him to do much. And you could possibly get a dude that is in the rotation that allows you to have a spot pass rusher. Carl Lawson is there, and I don't know why he's still there. Emmanuel Ogbah got signed by the Jaguars. You could re-sign Tyus Bowser. But yeah, you have a couple of players right here that you could definitely put over there. And, with safeties, Justin Simmons, Julian Blackmon, obviously you can sign those guys if you feel not comfortable, but I think they feel comfortable with the dudes that we have. And if Tyreek Hill truly wants to get traded and we can't keep him, which I think he probably will, you got some players here. Elijah Moore definitely can be an option there. Deontay Johnson could be an option. Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper could be an option. You got some players at wide receiver. You could also go for a Tyler Boyd, which, I wouldn't see the necessary to sign someone like that. Robert Woods, Nelson Aguilar, Tyler Lockett. But you got some wide receivers. So, and like I said, I think Chris Grier is working something up with a trade to allow us to get a player, and I think people need to understand that we're going to sign a free agent cornerback, and I think he's gonna do a trade with Jalen Ramsey to get us somebody. I think we'll do an even swap. I don't think we're just gonna get a pick for next year. He's gonna do an even swap with the player, and it could be Jair Alexander, it could be Greg Newsome, one of those players, but I think something is happening with that. So we'll get into it. So yeah, as you can see, plenty of free agents, especially at cornerback. We're going to sign Rasul Douglas. And, I think, honestly, when we talk about this, we have an extra third next year. We're trading Jalen Ramsey. I think those two things are kind of co-aligned for, we're doing something with that. We're not just going to trade Jalen Ramsey for like a fifth, and call it a day. We're calling up some teams and seeing if we can move some players, maybe an even swap with like a Jair Alexander and Jalen Ramsey, or a Greg Newsome and Jalen Ramsey, or we send a pick, the 3rd round pick for Jair Alexander, and then we move Jalen Ramsey for somebody else. There's something happening, I think Chris Grier is doing something, and I'm excited about it. And I truly do think that he is going to make a trade like he always does for somebody, and we're going to be fine. Like I said, we're going to sign Rasul Douglas, and we'll probably trade for somebody else, and then this will be a stacked team. Just wait for it. Calm down. Wait for it. Fins up, baby. Like and subscribe if you like this video. Appreciate you all very much. Love you all. Fins up. Peace.